This week on Supercars Torque, we've got engineers on the move. Broc goes to Triple Eight, and I've got some nighttime talk. First thing is first, for all of you people out there worried, where was Macaulay Jones going to get his racing entitlements contract from to race under next year? It's been confirmed that Brad Jones Racing has bought the Phil Munday licence that James Courtney was running under for the remainder of last year after Phil pulled the pin. I know a lot of you have been stressed about that because we weren't sure where that was coming from. I did see a lot of comments from people saying, oh, well, why didn't Tickford just buy it? Well, maybe Brad Jones came along with more money. Then maybe Tickford doesn't have the money to buy it. Who knows why? And there seems to be a lot of stress as to why then Courtney would use the Holdsworth one, or where's Courtney going to get his from? Well, the fact of the matter is that Holdsworth might be out of a seat because he hasn't got any money, but that's maybe an argument for another day. The two Mustangs that Phil Munday had as well, looks like both of them are being leased to the Blanchard operation. Not sure why you would lease two. Maybe they came as some kind of package deal. Smart move though with Gen 3 coming along, not going and buying a car that you're only going to get 1 year's use out of. And then I assume they'll go back into Phil Munday's car collection. I've never seen it, but apparently he's got a good car collection. Ryan Walkinshaw has come out and said manufacturers, yes, that is multiple ones, are interested in talking with them about Gen 3. Apparently as well, this white label engine that the category wants to develop and run with is an enticing thing for these manufacturers. And I think this is a great idea. At the moment, it's not going to replace if you want to run your Holden engine in your Chev Camaro, or if you want to run your Ford engine in your Mustang. As far as I know, that will still be fine. But if you're bringing in a new manufacturer, you can choose to have the category engine, put whatever badges on it that you want to make it look like it's a Kia or Hyundai or Toyota or whatever. But I think it's a great idea because that's probably the biggest barrier to entry of bringing in a new car and that. And the way that the Gen 3 rules seem to be kind of being manipulated is that it would be a lot easier for you to do, say, like what Erebus did. If you don't have that manufacturer support, you can, write a lovely letter to, say, Toyota and go, hey, could I please use your Supra shape and whatever? And then you can just go and buy the category engine, and all you have to worry about is doing the aero, which, as I understand, will be a cheaper and easier process to do that as well. So instead of going and spending millions of dollars trying to develop an engine, you can just go and buy one off the shelf for 50 grand or whatever and chuck it in your car and spend a bit of money on your aero. But you don't need, if you've got a reasonable sponsor, you could, it's quite conceivable that a few of the teams out there could go and run, different body shells even without manufacturer support. So I'm all for this, but then you get the usual naysayers on the internet. I'm not going to support a Ford running around with a Holden engine. Well, we're not saying that your Ford has to have a Holden engine in it. We're saying someone can, come along and buy one of these ones. And the general, I talk to people at work and things like that, and not the hardcore motorsport follower, they understand the difference, but the general person on the street thinks that the Holden's running an LS Chev motor in the car and Ford's running your Coyote motor in the car. They don't understand that these engines come from back in my father's day kind of thing. yeah, they think they're, common engines, and there was this big uproar because the Mustang had to be modified to fit. It's like, well, all the cars have been modified to fit on the chassis. It was happening, back in when Project Blueprint started. I think it was when they first started cutting and shutting the cars. So anyway. And then you also get the usual, oh, well, the series should be cars that we buy, like TCR. And you're like, no, the series that is cars that people buy is SuperUtes, which nobody likes. Yeah, I know one person running around in a Renault Megane. I've had friends that have had Golfs and things like that. Yeah, I don't know anyone running around in an Audi S3. Yeah, I'm not sure where they get this. You can go and buy the TCR cars. You can, unlike, well, some of the... You can go and... Holden's still got some Commodores there for sale, because they'll probably still have ones for the next 4 years or whatever. Even after Holden's gone, there'll probably be brand new ones. And my local Ford dealer's got a heap of Mustangs out the front, so you can go and buy them. But let's be honest, people are buying SuperUtes. And speaking of SuperUtes, apparently they have a field of 15 confirmed next year. These will be now V8 SuperUtes. They're all going to get a Chev LS motor in them. Good idea that they all get the same. And of course, the usual complaints, oh, it's stupid putting a Chev motor in a Ford and blah, 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 blah. Well, everyone wanted the road relevant, category, which is SuperUtes. They were shitty diesels that no one wanted to watch because they were so boringly slow and painful to watch. So they make them a bit faster and put a V8 engine in them and things like that. And then we just complain because we've got nothing better to do than complain. The fact of the matter is Holden and Ford weren't making Commodore and Falcon Utes anymore, so it had to move on to something. And this was a way of getting the manufacturers involved that everybody thinks we have to have manufacturers involved. So now they're doing probably what they should have done at the start. I think they should have made it like the NASCAR trucks or supercars kind of thing. You make a cheap chassis and then you just bolt on some panels and they're all, all had the same V8 engine and they all spit flames and things like that, and you got cheap panels on them, so when they crash and everybody loves it and it's just a good time had by all. Apparently Sydney Motorsport Park wants to run the pre-season test at night using coloured lights. Why don't we just run the test day and night, just have a really big long test day for the guys to get a lot of testing in. Just don't get enough testing. While they're there, give them 12 hours of track time. One thing I did forget about this season was that we were supposed to have a Surfers Paradise race at night. And I'm just thinking, Surfers Paradise is apparently going to be the finale of the 2021 season. How good is that going to be as a finale? It's going to be at night, there'll be flames and things like that. The guys will be out of control because it'll be the last weekend of the year in a concrete canyon. I'm actually excited to see that one. Broc Feeney has been confirmed at 888 for the Super2 series next year. He'll be joining Ange Mazuris in the 888 team cars. No talk of whether Boost sponsorship is going along, but there was a big thank you to Peter Adderton and Paul Morris and things like that in his speech, so one can only assume that Boost is on the way there. A little bit interesting. 888 have never really had the runs on the board with the Super 2 program, so it's just where Tickford have actually done a little bit in the Super 2, but yeah, if I had the choice and things like that, I'd probably be leaning more towards a 888 program rather than a Tickford program at the moment. Especially, it's hard because obviously they're running a Commodore and ZB or whatever and a VF, but it just seems that the Feeney's thing this year was a little bit behind, and maybe Tickford are drop the ball a little bit on the Falcon while they're concentrating on the Mustang. But at least, that we should have at least one front-running car in the Super2 Championship next year, because it looks like most of the top guys from this year will be moving on up. There is some engineering moves happening. This is nearly as interesting as some of the driver moves. So Grant McPherson, or Shippy, who has been Shane Van Gisbergen's engineer for the last few years, he is moving to Walkinshaw Andretti United. They must have left on good terms, because there was no big speech from Roland Dane about mercenaries leaving the team and, these heartless people that are just in it for the money. Or maybe it was because they poached Grant originally from Tickford. He's been put on 6-month gardening leave as well. So, although with Zoom and Skype and things like that these days, it's probably getting harder and harder to stop someone from actually helping out their new team. My big question is who to replace him with. They've got a few guys in the team that could definitely do the job. Would they want to step back into a normal kind of car engineering role or not? Or bring someone up internally? Or do we find one of those mercenaries from another team and bring him across? Which brings me to other news, Erebus. So Al McVeigh, who has been Dave Reynolds' engineer, funnily enough, he's going to Kelly Racing. I wonder where Dave's going next year. Questions. And apparently Mirko, he's left the team as well. Maybe he's going to Triple Eight. And also Dennis, I can't remember his surname, but the crew chief, apparently he's walked out of there as well. Erebus falling apart at the seams, it seems. Bit of wordplay there. Anyway, it just, for a team that was looking on the up and up and up not that long ago, a lot of people have said Barry Ryan's the problem. Maybe spending 6 months on the road with him has caused a lot of issues within the team. But also, when these guys signed up and when everything was happy and lovey-dovey and whatever, signing away decade-long contracts, you knew what Barry Ryan was like. If it was that bad, why were you signing up to it then? Just interesting, and with the kind of drain on the team it seems at the moment, will they be able to recover? 2 new drivers as well next year. It's not looking like a happy place to be. And finally this week, Gary Rogers has bought 47.5% of the Australian Racing Group, the ARG, the thing that runs TCR and whatever, essentially. Interesting investment. For something, essentially, it's always going to play second fiddle to Supercars. It's club racing, essentially. It's got me a bit baffled, this one. If you haven't got money to run in Supercars, how do you have money to buy, series where you've got to prop up the main competitors? Did I say that out loud? Anyway, it's Gary's money. He can spend it the way he wants. And on that note, that's it for Supercars Talk this week. I'm still Dave, and I'll catch you later.